Yes, my people, there is fire on the mountain. And this fire is going to bring a better change to Nigeria. Yes. One of the U.S. representative, his name is Moore, he was making a speech and he said they are going to provide option to Donald Trump, option of what will happen to Nigeria. Do you know what the meaning of that?
Many of us know Nigeria is the most dangerous country in the world to be a Christian. It's the most dangerous place in the world to profess your faith in our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And my colleagues and I will soon, this month, we're going to brief the White House on our investigation's findings and provide the president with a series of options to help protect our brothers and sisters in Christ. I'm grateful for President Trump's steadfast leadership on this issue. And I look forward to continue to work with him to defend the persecuted. And I'll close with this thought. And this is just the way I feel about these issues. Look, the United States is a Christian nation. It is. The United States is a Christian nation that's founded on Christian principles. We have a unique duty to defend Christians wherever they are being persecuted, and I will never stop fighting for our persecuted brothers and sisters in Christ.
I hope you heard it yourself. He said this January that they are going to brief the White House on their investigations and also provide options for Nigeria to save Christians. Do you know the depth of this talk? Donald Trump, when he said they are going to be swift, this is the swiftness that is happening now. This is the swiftness. This is January, and they say they are going to provide this option this January. Just imagine somebody become an IDP in his own country and is being treated with kid gloves. Meanwhile, they gave you a call, Macron from France gave you a call that there is Boko Haram attack in Benin Republic. You fly people there to strike. Meanwhile, in your own country, there are IDPs, Boko Haram, all those terrorist organizations, they are there occupying places, and you do nothing. How can you explain that?
France gave a call to Tinubu today under the guise that there was a new offensive led by the Boko Haram terrorists in Nigeria. He made an emergency call, and apparently it wasn't about Boko Haram, because if it was, I'd imagine those fighter jets would have been used to do targeted airstrikes, hopefully on the terrorists, but instead they were used to go into violate the sovereign airspace of Benin and presumably strike the coup leaders.
The Nigerian armed forces are being offered help from Donald Trump. So difficult are they finding it to protect their own people from ISIS and its chapter there, Boko Haram. So the Nigerian military can be spared to go and attack their neighbor, but they can't keep peace and stop ISIS in their own country. What kind of president is that?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, Tinubu has very long-standing ties in the United States. Max Blumenthal and David Hundean, who's the latter is a Nigerian.
So let me tell us now, if we think that because we are a sovereign nation and people can do anything they want, our leaders can do anyhow they want, anything they want goes, it is not true. The world is watching, and this is the time that the world have decided to have a peep into what is happening in this country. In every organization in this world, there is command and control. Anywhere, there is nowhere you cannot find command and control. Yes, that is how things work in this country. Anybody you are under somebody that controls you. That is how it works. So, but it is now very obvious that things are going to change in this country. And upon this that is happening, just imagine, Upon these things that is happening, people stealing money, people doing anything they want in the country, government is talking about taxing.
How do I explain to my child that there was one man called Nnamdi Kalu who was agitating for Biafra and was traveling from Finland and different countries, and the Nigerian government went to Kenya to catch him. They went abroad to catch him and brought him to Nigeria, put him in prison, and the man is suffering. Where the bandits in Kaduna, Adasarawa, driving Okada, that does not have international passport, that cannot speak simple English, is there, and Nigerian government cannot catch the person. How do I explain?
Same thing Nnamdi Kalu has been lamenting all about. All about. Nigeria is not working well. Give us Biafra. It became a big deal. Give us Biafra. Since Nigeria is not working well, because if Nigeria is actually working well and, you know, he's talking about Biafra, it will be as if, oh, he wants division. But at this point, it is not even about Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba. Everybody is in this together. And it's not funny. As a matter of fact, I just feel so bad.
Immediate investigation, the highest level, with the consideration of declaring the Sokoto Caliphate an international terror organization. And treated as such. Congressional delegation, charges of genocide against the Tinubu regime, declaring the Caliphate a terrorist organization, and restoring the internally displaced. That's how you uproot this. That's how you fix it. Everything else is just window dressing.
Ngwano, imagine now Tinubu will start defending himself for genocide, something that has been there before he came into power. You see the problem? Joining bandwagon, something that has been there before he came into the power, and the problem now is that the only problem I know that Tinubu might have is that they did not see him doing enough. He's not doing enough to checkmate these things. Whether there is a kind of agreement, though, I don't know. But if he has been doing enough to checkmate these things they call genocide. Okay, now I am going to release these clips. Please take your time to listen to it. Don't be in a rush. Then, if you have anything you want to say, you can come up and say it in the comment section.
I'll be right back. Let me tell you where this started from. This outcry is as a result of the very undiplomatic behavior of Nigeria's vice president. And it happened when? This happened in September of this year. And this was September 24, 2025. And what was the occasion? It was a statement when the Vice President of Nigeria, I'll give you the caption of his statement. It says, statement delivered by His Excellency Kashim Shettima, GCON Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, during the general debate of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Remember that video of your Vice President where he was campaigning or canvassing for the freedom of Palestine? Let's not talk too much. I want you to watch the video of your vice president at the United Nations.
We are despised by terrorists because we choose tolerance over tyranny. Their ambition is to divide us and to poison our humanity with a toxic rhetoric of hate. Our difference is the distance between shadow and light, between despair and hope, between the ruin of anarchy and the promise of order. We do not only fight wars, we pit and shelter the innocent victims of war. This is why we are not indifferent to the devastations of our neighbors near and distant. This is why we speak of the violence and aggression visited upon innocent civilians in Gaza, the illegal attack on Qatar, and the tensions that scar the wider region. It is not only because of the culture of impunity that makes such acts intolerable, but because our own bitter experience has taught us that such violence never ends where it begins. We do not believe that the sanctity of human life should be trapped in the corridors of endless debate. That is why we say, without stuttering and without doubt, that a two-state solution remains the most dignified path to lasting peace for the people of Palestine.
This is the vice president of Nigeria, not Palestine. The journey from Palestine, from Nigeria to Palestine by air is 3,700 kilometers. But the vice president of Nigeria was at the United Nations. And what formed the basis, the core of his speech was Palestine. Just stay calm and come with me. Let me walk you through the process of why we got to where we are. The section where he started talking about Palestine, it starts with number 9 of his points. Be patient with me. I'm going to read you something and explain to you what I'm reading, so you understand why Israel sees this as a matter of life and death. They must be involved. So the number 9 point he was making here in his speech, okay, you didn't hear that one. He says, Nigeria's soldiers and civilians carry a proud legacy. They have participated in 51 out of 60 United Nations peacekeeping operations since our independence in 1960. We have stood with our partners in Africa to resolve conflicts, and we continue that commitment today through the multinational joint task force. At home, we confront the scourge of insurgency with resolve. From this long and difficult struggle with violent extremism, one truth stands clear. Military tactics may win battles measured in months and years, but in wars that span generations, it is values and ideas that deliver the ultimate victory. Can you imagine the vice president of Nigeria is about to talk about Palestine, and he started first of all by talking about the military might of Nigeria. Keep your mind on what I just said. You are about to speak on Palestine and Israel, and you started by talking about how powerful Nigerian military is and how many peacekeeping operations we have had to get involved in since our independence. So let's go to item number 10. So number 10, he says, we are despised by terrorists because we choose tolerance over tyranny. Their ambitions is to divide us and to poison our humanity with a toxic rhetoric of hate. Our difference is the distance between shadow and light, between despair and hope, between the ruin of anarchy and the promise of order. We do not only fight wars, we feed and shelter the innocent victims of wars. Are you hearing? The vice president of Nigeria, he's about to talk about Palestine. Look at all the things he's saying. He now says, this is why we are not indifferent to the devastations of our neighbors, near and distant. This is why we speak of the violence and aggression visited upon innocent civilians in Gaza, in Palestine, the illegal attack on Qatar, and the tensions that scar the wider region. It is not only because of the culture of impunity that makes such acts intolerable, but because our own bitter experience has taught us that such violence never ends where it begins. My beloved ones, I don't know any nation that will hear stuff like this and not see that this is a threat of military action against Israel. The war that is visited, the violence, that aggression visited upon innocent civilians in Gaza, and then the illegal attack on Qatar. The vice president of Nigeria basically speaking against Israel's actions in Gaza and Israel's attack on Qatar, and then mentioning war and military might in the same sentences where he's talking about what Israel is doing in Gaza. And I ask, where did the boldness come from? I will explain it when I finish reading to you the next line, the next item, which is number 11. Number 11 says, we do not believe that the sanctity of human life should be trapped in the corridors of endless debate. That is why we say, without stuttering and without doubt, that a two-state solution remains the most dignified path to lasting peace for the people of Palestine. A two-state solution. For too long, this community has borne the weight of moral conflict. For too long, we have been caught in the crossfire of violence that offends the conscience of humanity. We come not as partisans, but as peacemakers. We come as brothers and sisters of a shared world, a world that must never reduce the right to live into the currency of devious politics. The people of Palestine are not collateral damage in a civilization searching for order. They are human beings, equal in worth, entitled to the same freedoms and dignities that the rest of us take for granted. A two-state solution in Palestine. So the vice president of Nigeria, I keep mentioning that Nigeria, jets out of Nigeria, goes to the United Nations with all these powerful, subtle threats to Israel. You are talking about Israel's actions in Gaza and the bombing in Qatar, and you are saying it along with how mighty our military is, how powerful, how much wars we have fought, and the rest of them. And on top of that, you now say two-state solution. Knowing how sensitive these topics are, you're talking about two-state solution when you have people in your own country where you come from who are not even united. Nigeria is a forced union of so many nations in one. Even if no other person agrees to that, ask any Igbo person, ask any Biafran. 99.9% of Igbos today want their own Biafra. Benjamin Netanyahu many years ago was talking about the thing that happened in Biafra, and he mentioned it in his own state address. Biafrans went to war for 3 years with Nigeria because they wanted freedom. And you are here talking about the two-state solution when you have not settled the issue of Biafra in your own country where you came from. What gave you the audacity and the boldness to do that? It is because you believed that the conquest by Islam of Nigeria had now been completed, which is why you guys had Muslim ticket. If it wasn't that there was Muslim ticket and that psychologically you believed in your mind that you guys have already conquered Nigeria, that any other thing anyone was talking about was nonsense, was balderdash, you would never have the audacity to go to United Nations rather than talking about what the terrorists are doing in Nigeria, how the terrorists are raping and killing people and dispossessing them of their homelands and farmlands, how that they have become so horrible. The impunity and the silence from the authorities and the lack of action from the Nigerian government has been so much that should have been your own speech at the United Nations. You should have been there asking for help. Instead, it was Palestine because you felt like, well, we have gotten this nation now. We are now the giant, the Muslim giant of Africa. And so with all the might we have, resources, economic power, military, we can actually now help other Muslim brothers that are suffering. So you were basically putting yourself up as the big helper, the big savior for Palestine from Israel. And you don't know how diplomatic code words can actually ring in the ears of the opponents. Israel got it. Israel has the strongest intelligence network in the world, and so they got your message loud and clear. Little wonder the moment the whole United Nations thing was over, the outcry against Christian persecution was born. And that was how I knew that Israel was eventually going to get involved. And if you listen to that video that I played to you, you see that I talked about it, that how can jihadists reign so supreme in Nigeria? Everybody knows how much oil Nigeria has, even though the citizens don't get to enjoy it, but we know how blessed Nigeria is with natural resources. Don't talk about the gas in Imo State that is probably the largest deposit of gas in all of West Africa. Don't talk about the oil in Eastern Nigeria, old Eastern Nigeria comprising Rivers State, Delta State, Abia State, Imo State, even Anambra State. Everywhere, natural resources. You go up north, you see all those gold and all manner of resources you can think of. So imagine Israel saying to themselves, oh my God, is this what we are faced with now? So these guys now have taken over Nigeria, and then they gain access to the oil well. Probably as we're talking, before you know it, the terrorists who have been conquering from up north, coming to the middle belt, they have taken over local governments in Benue State. I was there when the governor of Benue State then, Otom, was saying that about 18 or 19 out of 20-something local governments have been taken over by the Fulani militia, ethnic militia, and that they have renamed the villages they took over from Christians who are now living in IDP camps. Took over Christian villages, renamed them immediately. Recently, a soldier came out and said he was leaving the army, Nigerian army. He was so angry, the video was viral. He said his anger was that they saw their own commanders in the army helping invading Fulani terrorists settle down properly in the Christian villages that they took over forcefully from Christians in Benue State. Everybody saw the video. And some others will get angry and say that every time we see Boko Haram or terrorists to shoot, and they will tell us, they will be waiting for order to shoot, and they will tell us don't shoot. And we're asking ourselves, why are we then spending all this money, security, a vote, running into millions of dollars to buy weapons, but then we can't use the weapons to kill terrorists? Look at the stupidity, the rubbish that Nigeria was doing, thinking that nobody was watching, thinking that nothing was ever going to happen. And so the Lord orchestrated for your vice president to go out there and stir the waters and bring about this. The braggadocio had to end. The pomposity had to end. Okay? They were so arrogant about it. They were rubbing it in our faces that you've been conquered and there's nothing you can do. Nigerians got tired. Nigerians were switching citizenship all over the place. Nigerians were running out. Everywhere you went, you were treated like trash as a Nigerian. Because what was happening in Nigeria, nobody could comprehend it. You are looking at the stories. A terrorist is there. You tell me not to shoot him. The terrorist is raping and killing people, taking over villages, and you're helping them to settle well. And then the people who own the villages are told to go and remain in IDP camp forever. No time for them to return to their villages. They've lost them forever. So what is probably going to happen is that they have to relocate those people to a different place. They have to lose their ancestral home. But the vice president of Nigeria is busy canvassing for a two-state solution between Israel and Palestine. They are busy criticizing Israel for saying that the Palestinians have to leave and go somewhere else. But the Christians in Nigeria who have lost their homes to Fulani ethnic militia are meant to be relocated to another place to lose their homelands forever. But in Palestine, they are not supposed to lose their homelands to Israel. You never thought the double standard was going to be exposed. And so now let me come down to the point I was trying to make. Every single thing that the vice president of Nigeria, every signal he sent to Israel is what he's getting back now. Let me start with.
So this post went viral on X, and I'm just going to read it verbatim. 128 billion electricity fraud, 210 trillion CBN fraud, 3 billion on fake airline, over 6 trillion missing in NDDC. All is missing, and you are still looking to tax Nigerians more while the looters of this money are still walking free. No recover, no justice. We are just moving on. And it went viral. And my brother N6 took it further, and he just went and asked Grok. He said, "Dear Grok, please read the tweet link I posted below. Then help me name 15 instances where massive amount of money have gone missing or unaccounted for by Nigerian government parastatals from 2015 till date. Please reply as briefly as possible. Thanks." With the love emoji. Then Grok went into action. For those that don't know what Grok is the AI tool for X platform, formerly called Twitter. And Grok came in and said, here are 15 reported instances of missing or unaccounted funds in Nigerian government parastatals from 2015 to 2026 based on public records. 1. Dasuki Arms deal, $2.1 billion, 2015. NNPC unremitted oil funds, $20 billion, 2015. Ikoyi apartment cash, $43 million, 2017. Minor pension scam, 195 billion naira, 2017. Jam revenue fraud, 5.8 billion, 2018. NNPC missing funds, 316 billion naira, 2018. NDDC mismanagement, 81.5 billion, 2020. COVID-19 funds probe, 100 billion plus, 2020. Humanitarian ministry scandal, 585 million, 2023. Nigerian air project, 85 billion naira, 2023. MFLA CBN fraud, 1.3 billion, 2023. 3.4 billion IMF loan, 3.4 billion, 2024. Power Ministry funds, 128 billion, 2025. NDDC missing funds, 6 trillion, 2025. CBN alleged fraud, 210 trillion, 2025. My God. I'm sorry. God. He now went further and said, thank you, Grok. Can you expand it and add 15 more separate instances? Like it is not over. And Grok said, thank you, let's go. Here are 15 additional reported instances of missing or unaccounted funds in Nigerian government 2015 to 2026. 16. Malabu oil scandal, $1.1 billion, 2017. Babachia Lawal scam, 544 million naira, 2016. Ahmed Idris fraud, 109 billion, 2022. Fuel subsidy scam, 2 trillion, 2015 to 2029. Excess crude account, 2.2 billion, 2015. NLNG dividends, $11.6 billion, 2015. Chinese loan diversion, $600 million, 2015. Police pension fraud, 32.8 billion, 2015 plus. Kerosene subsidy, the billions were just written. No, it was not the amount was not listed. Immigration scam, $1 billion, 2015. Stella Odua scandal, 225 million naira, 2015. Farouk Lawan bribery, 620k, 2015. XAG fraud, $6 million, 2015. Ingige corruption, undisclosed. MTN bribery case, 500 million, 2016. These are 30 that have been put to the public domain. Scams, finances that have been looted from Nigeria in the space of 10 years of APC. I did not calm down for this video because I would have summed this up and put it out for Nigerians so we can have a clear picture. These are the ones that are in the public domain. I want you guys to understand that there are unaccounted billions that have been looted that are not even in public domain. These are the ones that have been released for us to hear. And you keep on hearing these people in this APC that Nigeria is poor. Nigeria does not have money. Nigeria is not wealthy. And this has been my argument for so long that we are one of the richest nations on earth. All we have had is mismanagement of funds and corruption. And I kept insisting that the first three problems we have in our country, number one is corruption, number two is corruption, number three is corruption. Because as long as you can't checkmate corruption in the country, nothing is bound to work. Every system, every facet of governance is corrupt in Nigeria. Today we have a government that has legalized corruption. Look at how, if you notice something about these funds, from 2015, it was in billions, it was in millions. As we have gotten into 2025, as we kept going, it kept increasing. When in 2025, now we're talking about 210 trillion. How do you steal 210 trillion? How can a country have 210 trillion missing and you're asking the citizens to pay taxes? This is insanity. And you will see, this post, very few people interact with it. It will not even be posted anywhere. We will not even talk about it. We just pass because Nigerians, we do not care. Instead, we are more interested in Harrison versus VDM. Mundane issues, nothing that affects me and you as a people, that affects our future. I really wish and hope we can start reorientating our brains because, man, we are here watching. These guys are stealing our future and they're stealing our future, sorry. They're stealing the future of our unborn kids. And it is sickening.
So with all these things that happened, money being stolen up and down, with all these things that is happening around Nigeria, and we think that the world will not believe that one day, if they keep quiet, that one day is going to come down to their own side. Anything happening in another part of the world, if not checkmate, is going to trickle down to other areas of the world. That is how these things is with my little experience, you see.
We compiled data from within Truth Nigeria. We compiled data from several sources, and we have launched what we call the Nigeria Terror Tracker. And this is an interactive map that shows you who did the killing, where the killing happened, geolocated, and information about each and every attack. So I'm just going to pop it up on the screen here, and we call it nttmap.org. Very original name, Nigeria Terror Tracker Map.org, nttmap.org. And this is a work in progress, but right now what we have in the system is every attack that has occurred in Nigeria for the last 5 years, and who did it, documenting over 50,000 casualties. We'll go to the map. So you can sort out the map here. You can go by local government area, you can go by the state, you can go by the date. Every one of these attacks is geolocated. Now if I go click on a dot, it'll give you information about every attack. But here's the thing, I can go over here, I'll take out the red. The red right now is combined of Boko Haram and ISWAP. We are going to be separating that and doing Boko Haram only and ISIS of West Africa only. That's going to be separated here within the next month, and that'll be documented. But Trump went after, I'd say, a small portion of the red, which was the ISIS. Let's take them out for a second. Okay?
Let's take out other non-actors. All right, we'll take out state actor security forces. Look at the green, guys. The green are the Fulani attacks. And everywhere they've attacked in the last 5 years, which accounts for the vast majority of all the killings in the last 5 years. The data doesn't lie. And this is a clear picture of what needs to be dealt with. So the U.S. government, if we're going to take this seriously, if we really care about persecuted Christians, the Fulani need to be dealt with. The Fulani ethnic militia. Boko Haram still needs to be dealt with. ISIS needs to be dealt with. But if we're ignoring the Fulani, we are doing a disservice to the Nigerian people, and there will be more slaughter. So the American media thought, guess what? Trump bombed Nigeria. Problem solved. Persecution ended. How many of you here know how many Christians have died since Christmas? I know you guys are smart. And Doug, you know, 130 Christians have died since Christmas. The killing hasn't stopped. The Fulani are doing business as usual. So right now, the Nigerian government, $9 million to an American Republican firm that people kind of associate them with called DCI. Roger Stone, known association of President Trump, I guess helped put together the deal. Folks, when I first started this project, and I started working in Nigeria, I thought once the world knew that all these innocent Christians and people were being massacred and killed, that people would just naturally do the right thing and want to come to their rescue. Right? Especially people on what I consider on the conservative and the Republican side of the fence. It's a no-brainer. No, what are we dealing with? We're dealing with people that are in complete denial, that are getting paid to deny the genocide. Right. And now there's $9 million being shoved into the Republican conservative organizations in front by this lobbying firm that are going to pay people to change the narrative. So what I'm asking all of you here is, if you know people in the media, you have friends in the media, you have former congressmen or senator friends of yours that are lobbyists, you need to go to them and say, if you take the Judas money and you start trying to change this narrative, we're going to hold you accountable. We are not going to let you get away with this. We're not going to let paid, pay-for-play conservative commentators take the Judas money and the blood money and lay cover for the killing of Christians. It's not going to happen on my watch. And I'm going to go to war with DCI, with what very little I have and what connections I have. We're not going to let this happen. The fraud is going to get exposed. I'm tired of this, guys. We should all be doing the right thing together and coming to the aid of the innocent, of the defenseless, and saving lives instead of playing these stupid political games. For the love of God, we can do better than this, folks.
Well, I believe that I have done justice to this one. Probably there may be another part of it, continuation of this, because it's quite a long discussion and very sensitive indeed. My plea is that whatever option that the US is going to take against Nigeria, whatever option, I know the option is going to favor people. At least let there be peace. Let there be peace in the country. Let people feel free to move around anywhere you want to go in the country. And some people are saying the option of dividing Nigeria is the best. So, but for me, I want to believe that if we are going back to our confederal system of government, that people that have, common things in common, like if you come to the north, predominantly Muslims, come to the east, predominantly Christians, and the rest. I believe confederal system will solve these problems, and everybody knows that is the solution to this country, but I don't want to do it. So, but let's watch and see the solution that will be tabled in front of the president of US, and let's see what happens.